All right, guys. So this is going to be our next project. Let me refresh this. It's called Adobe Express Basic Photo Editing. So we've used Photopea. We've tried to use Photoshop. We've used a bunch of different programs. So this is kind of our next step that you can use in uh, your tools, if you will, photo editing. Uh, just a quick reminder: each day you'll get daily points. If you don't have a Chromebook, I'm going to give you a handout that you'll need to complete while I'm doing the demonstration for the class. Okay. So, whatever you need to do, I know some of you all don't have, uh, can't really help not having a Chromebook because they're broke. So, I've got to give you an alternative. So, that's going to be the alternative. Okay. If you can find a way to get a loaner from your core class, that would be great. But if not, I'll give you uh, a, like an alternative assignment. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to click on these pictures. Okay, so there's 4 pictures that you have access to. Okay, and you can see those in a viewable document. Okay, so you can look at them like this. There's the front, the side profile, a 3/4 horse, and then a series of kittens, which is kind of different. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to make a copy of each one. So make a copy, double click, make a copy, double click, make a copy, double click and make a copy. Okay. You got 4 pictures. All right. Though that's the key. So again, you make sure that you have all 4 pictures. And then once you get that to that point, then we will move on and start the project. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to do that right now. All right. So the next step is you are going to go in and you're going to, in the URL, you're going to type Adobe Express. Okay. So a lot of your all's files that you've used in Photopea, it lags, but there's certain programs that we've used in the past, Canva, Adobe Express. So we're going to walk through some things and get into more. We're going to start basic and work our way through. So basically, you click on that and then click on Get Adobe Express for free. And then from there, you should have the front page. So I'm going to sign out real quick just so you all can see the process when you sign into Adobe Express. You are going to click on your Google account and you'll click on your email address. Okay. It's a company or school account. Okay. So do that fairly quickly. Make sure you're logged in. Okay. So that you should be logged in and everything should be good to go. Now, here is the next step. Okay. You're going to hit the plus sign on the top left. You're going to hit custom size, and it should be, the width should be 2560 by 2560 pixels. Okay, 2560 by 2560, and create. So what that's going to give you, that's going to give you a square, somewhat of a square canvas. This white area is considered a canvas. Like you would start off with Photopea and Photoshop, like you have a white sheet of paper. We're starting with a canvas, a blank sheet of paper or a blank canvas. Okay. Now, there's a couple things you need to do. You need to go and look at your files that you downloaded, those 4 files. Okay. You're going to use those for this project. Okay. So the key for you, and I'm using a Mac, so it's going to be a little bit different for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to download my pictures. You all need to do the same. Okay. Download my pictures and I'm going to click on that. So mine are downloaded in my downloads. Okay. So they're there. Now, before we begin, before we start, you are going to label this your last name, first name, and since we started this project on 3/21/25, we'll call it 3/21/25. Okay. Adobe photo. Okay. Or you can just, as long as it says last name, first name, 3/21/25, make sure you get that done. Okay. Okay. So there's a lot of things we're going to do with this. We're going to use all 4 pictures. We're going to go through a process where we're going to work together and show you a few things. And so we are going to turn several of these in at certain points. Okay. So we are going to get certain, like we're going to get like some grades based on what we've turned in. So you're going to need to follow along. Okay. And the reason I'm going through this process is because I don't want you to miss any steps. So I'm going to go extremely slow and we don't want to miss any steps. Okay. So make sure you have what I have. Make sure that you have got what I have. So I'm going to do a short review of what I just covered so you know that you have what I have. Okay, so now here's the next step. So what I'm going to do is I'll go over here and you are going to click upload. Now on the Chromebook, you're going to see your uploads and different things like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my downloads and I've got this folder somewhere. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-download this, and this is something a little different. I'm going to go right here and go to my downloads and double click, and there's that. All right. So there's them. Okay, right there. All right. So now the way you want to get yours is you want to upload it. Like click upload. Mine are on my desktop. So I'm going to go add picture 1. We're going to start with picture 1. Okay. Now there's a couple things we're going to do. We're going to take this. All right, and it's gonna insert that right in the middle. Okay, right in the middle. If you moved it around, you're going to see these blue lines, but you're not wanting to move anything around. I want it to be right in the middle. We're going to pull it from the corner to where it just goes off the screen. You see that right there? I'm going to hit Control Z, or in my case, Command Z. You're going to go all the way to the corner right there on one side. Then you're going to go all the way to the corner. You see that blue line right there? There you go. On the other side. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to do that. So I did it twice just to make sure you understood. Now, a couple things you need to know about this process. I'm going to click on the image. Okay. And over here on the left, there's a dog. It says remove background. So I'm going to click on remove background. So what this should do, AI is going to kind of give you a little taste of what we should be doing on ways that we can remove the background fairly easy. Now remember, Adobe Express is a more introductory version of all these apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, InDesign. InDesign you make yearbooks with, instead of using Studio Balfour. Lightroom, some of y'all have used that to make things lighter, make things better. After Effects, motion graphics, visuals and stuff. Adobe fonts. Classic Lightroom and Adobe Express usually is something used on a phone. Okay. Animate is you have your animated animations. Okay. So what we have here now, we have our background taken off. So the cool thing about this, what we're going to do is, and let me show you one more time. We have the background. We're going to select the picture, go over to the left. Okay. You got effects, you got animations, you got loops. We're going to go to remove background. Okay. Now, in the past, we've used a program called Remove BG. Okay, so now that I've removed background, I'm going to make her a little bit larger. I'm going to go to the corner, and I'm going to go to the corner. Now, you see how she's not quite in the middle? I want to make sure that I can see the vertical blue line and the horizontal blue line. If you can see that, then she's in the middle based on the canvas. Okay, she's in the middle based on the canvas. All right. So at that point, we have taken the background out, and we have centered her in the middle of the canvas. Okay, now I'm gonna do a short stop, make sure we have a short review, make sure everybody's with us. So we're back to our lady, our front profile, and I specifically chose this because she had a darker shirt on, and she's got light on one side, so the light source is coming from the top right to the left. Okay, and then you see the shadow right there. Now, once you click on it, okay, and then you can also look at some different options here. Or if you wanted to go in and do a short selection, and like see this piece of her hair right here, okay, I mean zoom this in, and this is something I'm going to show you. If I wanted to erase this piece of her hair, I could do so. Now this is not something I'm going to hit Control Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to start using these tools. Now you got to be really careful. See where it says the size. So if I erase, oh, I got into her face. I don't want to do that. Okay. So what you all can do is hit Control plus, and get really close to that area. Control minus. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get it to where her hair is showing. So we're going to go back. You're going to click on erase. Okay. And you probably want to make the size of the eraser tool fairly small. And here's why, because I'm going to hit Control plus to zoom in right there. And by doing that, I am going to even make my brush smaller. Let's go to 10 and zoom in some more. Okay, I'm going to zoom in some more. All right, let's see if I can do this. Here we go. See how that works? So we're going to get rid of that little piece of hair there. So when you zoom out, it's not perfect, but at least you understand the process. So now we kind of have a little cleaner look. You can still kind of see where I've right above her ear, but that's okay. So I'm going to select her again. All right. And so if I wanted to set background, I could, but right now I'm not going to do anything. You set corners or whatever the case may be. There's nothing to set. So it's like there's nothing to set because there's a white background. Okay. So over here on the right are considered layers that we can use. So we're going to start doing some layers and we're going to add some things. But before we do that, let's look at some effects that we can use. Okay. So these are like the grayscale, the custom. So what I want you to do right now, as I'm doing this, I'm going to go back. Okay. And I'm going to go undo. where she's still in color. All right, we're going to go back to our media. We're going to click on her, and I want you to click on grayscale. I want you to click on darken, click on tint, click on colorize. Okay. And then from there, you can do some different things. So, like if you wanted to change your shadows or change your highlights or change the color scheme or add your shadow color and then add your highlight color. Okay. If you wanted to do a custom or you want to check some, the swatches are what you choose, so, or if you didn't want to do any of that, you could just use a preset. These are all presets. Okay. That are like, this is, kind of a deal where you can make a preset. Now, here's what we're going to do with this. We're not going to do anything yet with that. I'm going to hit Control Z and go back to my original color. Okay, you can change it. I'm going to hit Control Z until I go all the way back to my original color. Okay, there I am. All right, now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to select her. Okay, I'm going to select her real quick. And let me close out of this. Good. Select her where I can move her around. Remember, I want to be right in the middle. Okay. And I'm going to Control C and Control V. I want to duplicate her. Okay, actually what we need to do is hit Control D and that should duplicate. So I want to duplicate this background. Okay, so a way that we can do it is select the background, hit Add and duplicate. Okay, now that's really not what I want. So let me go back. I want to delete. I don't want 2 pages. So I'm going to get rid of. We just want 1 page, just one by itself. So I don't want page 2. We don't need a page 2. Okay. So let me select this again. All right, so here's what we got. So what you're going to do is, so now that we have a white background, you've used the technique on removing the background. You're going to, double click, and you want to move her up a little bit. So let's move her up above here. Okay, use the remove tool and all that good stuff. Then you're going to go up here and you're going to click on background color. Okay, so let's put her 00B 050 is Crawford green. Okay, now I'm going to do that, but I want to hit undo because I don't want the whole background to be that color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to media, I'm going to go to photos, and I want to type in landscape. So media, photos, and then landscape. And I'm going to choose this first one right here. Okay. Like so. She's cut off just a little bit. That's okay. I can, if I want to crop it down to where I get right underneath her, that's fine. And then I'm going to click on her, select the background color, 00B 050. Okay, so now I got green tone, right? So what that gives you is a start of like what a collage would be, right? Okay, so this is kind of where we're at. This is a good example. Okay, you can still go in, like if you wanted to complement that, if you wanted to make that blue, if you wanted to make that another color, you can. That's okay. But one thing you can do is do your background color. Remember, you're using 00B 050. All right, you got that. So there's the example of that. Now, last but not least, you definitely want to add like you doing it. So you're going to click add your text. You're going to come down here. Okay. Say bye. And just I'm going to put bye, like put your first name. Okay. Or just put your first name, but I want it to be in a script font. So we're going to edit. You're going to click here, and you can just type in script if you want to. Kind of gives you a little pizzazz there, and I'm going to make it white, which is 6 Fs. Okay, if you want to do a slight black outline, you can, which are 6 zeros. That way it shows up fairly well. Okay. Now you've done a lot of different steps just to create certain things. Now, there's other things that you can do, and I would like to do a few things. You don't have to on this one, but you can go to elements, and you can go like to circle, half circle, whatever, and you can begin to add certain things that give you a certain element. Okay. But because she's in the background, you're not going to be able to cover her up. Okay. So, but you don't have to do that for this. So the last but not least, once you get done with all that, your picture should look somewhat like this. You're going to hit the download button, and you want to select PNG best for images. Click download. Okay. So now it's downloaded. So obviously it's a little different coming from like a Mac. So I'm going to show a student view. Okay. Real quick, we go back to our student view in our canvas. Okay, so I need to publish this. All right, so I'm going to go to student view, and here's how you upload it. You're going to hit start assignment. You're going to drag the file there. So on a Chromebook, you're going to click that. You're going to go to recents. Now in mine, it doesn't show, but you click recents, put it there, submit assignment, and then you should be good to go. Okay. So again, this is what needs to be done for today. Just watch the video. It shouldn't be too hard to do. I went fairly slow, so the demonstration was about 35 minutes, so we should be in good shape.